Hi, my name is Kenny, and I'm one of the developers of the LAMBS Danger.fsm, an AI mod for Arma 3. In this video, I'll be showcasing the 4 new group tactical actions that we're introducing in the next version of LAMBS Danger.fsm. These replace the existing task maneuver and further enhance and extend what the firefight will look like. To number them, there is flank, assault, suppress, and also garrisoning. The setup we're looking at right here is quite simple. I'm going to be hiding in this building. I'm going to be revealing myself. I'm not going to be fighting as such, and I'll be calling these functions directly just to demonstrate what they do and what they look like. Opposed to me is a small 6-man team of CSAT who will be making their way, maneuvering towards me to the best of their ability. Like I said, I won't be engaging them as such, but really just seeing what the movement type skill will look like. That of course comes with, and here's the warning, that it comes of course with the fact that they're not as dynamic as they would have been had there been a shooting firefight going both ways. But it's still an interesting thing to see it in a sort of white room environment, though given with a bit of cover. Final warning, this is also the development version. It's not fully prepped for release, though we are testing it internally. So there might be some issues. As always, I'm also doing this in a single beautiful take. No video editing here, ma'am. No, sir. I did one run before. One of the units got stuck in this abandoned windmill. Yeah, we'll see if that happens again. But anyway, let's enough with the excuses. Let's go on with the action. So the group AI, like I said, is a response mechanism that is called by the leader once he's established the fact that he's in contact and has understood what kind of enemies he's facing. And then his brain goes to work, and based on the input and information he has, he selects an appropriate response. Now, if the targets or most relevant target is infantry, is perhaps garrisoned in a building, or is reinforced or close to some sort of static weapon, or if there's bunkers set up or anything like that with infantry inside, also a type of fortification or garrisoning, he will try to institute one of these responses. Oh, and he'll also do it if his unit is on top of a valley and they're sort of looking down, shooting down. So instead of the default Arma solution, which would always just be run straight at them, we're going to be seeing some more interesting maneuvers in this version. And like I said, the current version 2.3 has one of them, which has now been which is just maneuvering, which has now become further enhanced and has become flank. Flanking is also the default response to something like a garrison building or a static weapon or anything like that. So what I'm going to be showing you now initially is the flanking system. And again, I'm not going to be shooting back at them, but we'll get a sense of it. So I'm revealing myself to them, setting them to combat, and then just running the flanking script. And here we go. Now flanking is interesting because it will immediately we saw an initial burst of suppressive fire. The units that are pushing forward will sort of read the situation if they have a good eye on it, and occasionally you'll see stuff like this. We have Ismail Adil here. They're now putting down fire in the general direction or the buildings where they believe that the enemy is held within. And as you can see, these helpers here, they're obviously not present in the playable version. They're actually just CBA settings which you can turn on and off, so to indicate where the AI is trying to hit. And here we see flanking in action. They're moving off to the right. You can see that they prefer the crouch stance, but not exclusively. They'll move through cover, which is just a default pathfinding in Arma, and they'll try to find some point here on the right hand side from which to reassess the situation and really just get at it again. Like I did say in the intro, had there been an enemy group there that had been shooting at them, you'd also been seeing a bit more dynamic movement. So this is a very cut and dried in a sense. Flanking, of course, they will look for a number of things. They will look for, like they have found here, clusters of trees, high concentrations of cover. They'll also, as a secondary thing, try to get on top of the hills, anything that gives them a overwatch, something that which will allow them to look into the target area. I think the first flanking run is now completed itself. You see they sort of rallied up here beneath that tree. This is very much within the intention of it. Now, if they had been in combat, of course they would have flown into that combat, however it would have ended, or they might reassess their tactics and pull out another thing. So we'll start again. Again, we see some at the initial burst of suppressive fire. Not sure why this guy stopped, but again, they're now moving in, pushing in, trying to get into the. Now, an interesting aspect that you will also see, and you can see them flanking out, putting down fire. I just realized I'm not wearing my headset, so if the sound isn't all that bad. In any case, as you can see, they're pushing in under suppressive fire and really just trying to get into these combat, the compound itself. And that's really it for flanking. If they had a vehicle with them, something with a gun, that vehicle would also have been contributing to that suppressive fire. That's an extra sort of script or routine that is added on top of it. And here you are. They now come to the location. They're starting to check buildings. There's no extensive building checking built into flanking, but there is another response to that, which we'll actually look at afterwards. And again, like I'm repeatedly saying, the Danger.fsm is inherently a responsive type of functionality. So if that was the case, if we'd been fighting back, there would have been much more dynamic sort of presence there. Oh, and in fact, they're just beneath me now. If I make a noise, they'll probably come upstairs and try to get at me. There is another thing which I didn't talk about. The next version, 2.4, has actually tweaked movement skills a bit. Where actually what we've done is added a bit more delay to how long the unit leader, group leader, is willing to wait for others to sort of catch up to him when he's bounding. And what you will hopefully see is a lot more squad cohesion, which in fact you did see when they were moving across the field there. But let me reset this scenario here and look at one of the other scripts. I should say functions. So that was flanking. We saw them move off to their right, use the cluster of trees there. The first time I ran it, they actually went to the left. There's a bit of just AI for you there. Let's have a look at a more direct one. This is Assault. Assault is used when units are set to a combat mode red, that is, they're set to be aggressive, or when they're very close to the enemy. They might do this. And it is actually quite simple. They will stand up, they'll have their weapons set, and they will try to maneuver, advancing towards the enemy. As you can see, they're sort of sweeping forward it. They will generally, and you'd see this more if there was fire coming their way, they're actually so aggressive that they will prefer moving. So in the wrong situation, this can be rather suicidal. But again, this is a response for very certain situations. And well, here you have them. They're keeping on moving forward. As you can see, weapons are up, and they will be sort of ready to respond to whatever comes their way. If I try to shoot at them now, they went down, but you know, the assault parameter is all the more important, and they're actually just pushing forward. Here, this guy, squad leader, actually hid inside this windmill. Not sure why that happens. I'm gonna have to look at that. In any case, that's the assault function. Don't really need to play it through, but you can see they're very much collected. They're very aggressive. The fact that the squad leader is stuck there for whatever reason is inherent to this terrain, I believe, or the terrain situation right here. But I'm actually going to have a bit of a further look at that. You can see them stacking essentially on top of each other here. That also comes really down to the pathfinding. And of course, had I been shooting at them, they wouldn't have been as willing to do just that. And well, here you have them. Previous video I showcased, I've added smoke functionality. You're going to see a heavy use of smoke in oh, here we go. Mods I'm running. I'm not fully vanilla actually. This is just my default testing platform. I'm running ACE, I'm running Enhanced Soundscape, and I'm running Dynasound 2 alongside with the various LAMBS mod in their Steam and well, development, like this case. Wow, this is a testing version. I'm not sure why it's happening here, but we'll be debugging that before we do the final release. Happy days. So next in line is suppression, and as the as the name indicates, it is a suppressive mode. I'm going to put down a vehicle here to support them. It is a bit finicky whether or not the vehicle will actually engage. I found that you need to be fighting with it for it to engage. Now, suppression is, as the name suggests, instead of flanking, instead of moving aggressively forward, the unit will remain put and just try to pour down fire into whatever target zone is ahead of them. It is a response chosen by units which, for whatever reason, are set to a combat mode where they won't leave the formation or anything like that. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So, and they'll do a number of bouts of these suppression. I think to get the vehicle running, like I said, it's been a bit finicky. Hooray for Arma. Sometimes the vehicle needs a bit of combat actually to allow itself to start suppressing. For units that do not, for whatever have line of sight, like Rahim here, they'll actually try to move forward in steps of I think 10 to 15 meters, just to get more online or in line with it. And it's not uncommon to see combinations of these things happening together, where the squad will flank off to left or right, set up a new position and start suppressing, or then sliding into an assault mode or anything like that. So this goes very much in line with what we consider our design parameters, something which seamlessly enhances the AI, but more importantly also adds very recognizable AI states. When this starts to happen, you understand that something is happening, or that this is a sort of response they are doing. That's really the key of where we're at. The previous bout of suppression that we saw, that was a rather short one. I think they can do somewhere between 3, 4, and 5 sort of cycles of these suppression rounds. And as you can see by the large number of red targets there, they are pouring a bit of fire in. It's hitting these fences and things like that because they're sort of ray tracing and just trying to find the first and best building position within there. So these guys, no flanking going on here. Instead, just suppressing. That leaves us with a final one, which is essentially garrisoning. Garrisoning also has a offensive component, and which means that a unit like garrisons will pick a building and of course try to enter it. But if a unit is flanking or assaulting and turns out to be very, very close to an enemy building, they'll garrison it instead, and in that process they will actually clear and secure that building for their own use. There is no dynamic sort of permanent garrisoning happening in LAMBS, despite this guy getting stuck in the that windmill, and might look at that sometime in the future, but that is again because of our design parameters. We want something that is seamlessly integrated, that doesn't, you know, fuck unnecessarily with your oh sorry YouTube, with your existing existing mission designs, when you know units getting stuck in some building because they randomly decided to garrison it. And yeah, well, here we go. I'll just run that, and we'll have an immediate response. These guys will move in. They'll actually prioritize building positions which are higher up. Oh, didn't think about that, but the moment I set them into combat mode right here, they did their initial reaction phase, which is actually to withdraw a bit and try to seek cover. We gotta remember that these guys were not expecting me there in a sense, so this is why they pulled back. But as you probably also saw, I did rerun it. Back in action. There we go. And again, they'll do these things. I've had combat situations where you've seen them flank left, right, multiple moves of that sort, and then getting close enough to actually garrison and storm buildings. AI knowledge is not perfect, so there will be situations that we've been in a longer firefight here. I have had situations where in testing where I've been put in, let's say, a building like I am now, engaged enemy, escaped, pull out of that building without them noticing, and then having them trying to maneuver on my previously known location to the point of suppressing it, flanking, and then actually assaulting and garrisoning it, allowing me and my team to, you know, get the hell out of there. So there is that level of there's no perfect AI knowledge essentially, and I think that's about it. Flanking, assaulting, suppressing, garrisoning, and gonna have another look at the assault routine actually with the close suppressive fire there, which did see some friendly fire, which is always nice. The triggering, I could talk a lot about how and what that sort of brain power behind the AI is. We are also expanding that in the future. That's really for a future video. If you have any questions or comments, you know where to put them, and thank you for watching.